show my agent, say what are the best guys in my program kind of like doing,
Sure.
just to have your thoughts, right? So there's always, the fact that, okay, so, I don't know how to handle the leads, I'm not closing enough. What are some things that you're doing here to maximize the results that you're getting in our program?
Well, it's just persistency. I mean, any lead program is nothing more than names and phone numbers. If the person has some type of interest, it's your responsibility to contact the client. So, it's a system. I mean, like this past weekend, so I got in 6 leads that came in over the weekend. Unfortunately, I was
Mm,
traveling, so I didn't call any of them. So my contact ratio is shit because of it. So
mm,
you're better off as soon as you can call them as soon as they come in. I mean, I call them 3 times a day at least. I send them text
mm,
messages after the phone call. I only leave one voice message per day, um,
mm,
and then I'll use the CRM as well. Watch the communication that's on there. Some of them do respond, telling you what time of day or whatever to contact back. So, and then, once I have contact with them, I move them. So, which is what we talked about. So you move them out of the initial contact ratio. Um, I've had scheduled appointments. I've had no shows, which is part of the beast. And then I've called and followed up. I mean, the 3 no shows I've had, I was able to call and reschedule those or reschedule them again.
yeah,
But it's staying on top of it. So many agents typically will just get frustrated and they'll give up on it, and it's their own fault. It's nothing more than that. If
yeah,
the people have an interest, I mean, I've had some people say I'm not interested, and they hang up the phone, which is fine. It's all numbers game. It's really what it comes down to. So
yeah.
far, out of it, I've written $3,000 in premium. I'm writing a $35,000 annuity tonight. I'm going to, I think I'm writing another $6,000 in premium based off of a conversation I'm having, another one, and I may be accessing about $400,000 in an annuity off of another one, which looks pretty good.
Yeah,
So
and I feel like even with guys like you, even if you're killing it right now, like you have that persistency. Some of my agents are just kind of like starting out and they're like, oh fuck, I don't want to follow up with the leads. But like, what are some ways that what's kind of like your mindset when it comes to handling the leads?
it's money. So listen, if I invest in something, I call it. I mean, I call
Yeah.
them. People always use. I mean, I've been doing this game for a long time, over 20 years, and people will sit there and say, "How many times do you call a lead?" I'm like, "It's simple. It's as many as it takes." Until the person either says, "Stop calling me," they hang up
Fuck
on
off.
you, pretty much, and I don't care. I mean, it's a response. I'm looking for a response. Um,
Hmm.
some people just don't. So I talked to a guy, example, he's 62 years old. He's like, "What's the tax-free program?" I said, "You don't qualify." What do you mean? So I did the takeaway right away. Well, come to find out, he's got $200,000 sitting in his checking account. He's got another $90,000 sitting in one account, another whatever. So it's like, okay. So I just worked it around and said, "This is what we can do." And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome." He says, "Can I have my wife on the phone?" I said, "Of course she needs to be." And I just turned it around. Other people would have
Hmm.
just sat there and hung up the phone. I don't. I mean, to me, if there's an interest, I'm going to sit there and dig until that person basically says yes, no, indifferent, whatever that scenario is. I mean, I've had this one's had a death in the family, this one's had this. They're just excuses, most of them, but I don't let them go until the person basically says stop calling me, hangs up the
Hmm.
phone on me, tell me to go jump off a fucking bridge. I don't care. I don't take it personal. I'm like, okay, next, and I go on to the next thing. I just like to have a busy schedule.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I do for my process. So I look at my calendar as an example. So I have I have 4 appointments set up today from the leads. I have one, two, three set up tomorrow.
Hmm.
I have one on Thursday so far and one on Friday. That's what I have scheduled as of this point. And then I'll have follow-ups from that. And I mean, and there's still, according to my lead system, I still have 16 leads that I have not made any contact to. I mean, I've blown them up, but so I got 16 still that have not had any conversation whatsoever. So hopefully out of the 16, I could book another, I don't know, 4 appointments, maybe. I mean, that's kind of really what I'm looking at. And then there's other ones which I still have to follow up with and set up additional appointments, whatever. I mean, one of the first ones I had on this particular case, I wrote a policy guy for $12,000 in premium, and he just wigged out on me. It's like I'm chasing them down. I'm like, and I just basically last communication said, I'm not going to chase you looking for money. Either you want the policy or you don't.
Or
You're the
you
one
don't.
telling me you wanted it. I'm here. I didn't go anywhere, but I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
chase you down either. I'm not going to harass someone to take a policy to give yourself a plan for protection. And he's
Yeah,
got a
you have a
7-year-old son. So
yeah, you have a really good framework for sure. So basically, in terms of contact, it's just about persistency, right? It's not like you have like a secret strategy in place where
no,
you do things just like with this with that. And do you call them like with the CRM, or do you call them with their phone, or do you mix it up? What about calling times? Does that matter at all, or is it just about persistency, to be honest?
I call him. I start him. I usually call him in the morning, and then I call
Okay.
again in the afternoon. Then I call again at night. I typically call him 3 times a day. I send him a text message right after I call him in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And I use it through my phone only because that's accessible for me.
Okay.
I will occasionally send a message through the CRM through SMS to try to change it up that way. I look at
Mm-hmm.
the communications if they do respond, but that's pretty much where it comes from. Yeah, there's just people. I mean, they're not going to answer the phone. I mean, they just don't. It doesn't make a difference who it is.
Yeah.
Um, and that's it. Some people are very apologetic. I mean, you get some, oh, thank you for calling, and whatever. Other people, I mean, I got one guy. I mean, he's going back and forth with me. He's like, or this woman, she's like, listen, I don't have $100,000, so no one will talk to me. I said, I'll talk to you. I mean,
Mm.
I don't really care. I mean, it's a different approach. I just sit there and I help people. So
And that's good. Okay, so that's in terms of the contact. What about the first call? I mean, I know the first call, the whole goal is, it's kind of like the first step in the sales funnel where you sell the second call and you sell the third call. Like, what's your mindset? What's your strategy when it comes to the first call? What do you do actually?
now I'm trying to make contact to say, listen, I'm calling with the tax-free retirement program. Um, do you still have any questions? How can I help you? And that's pretty much where it comes out to. And then they sit there and say, well, what's this about? Whatever. Well, it's all based off of what your situation is. Everybody's different. We do have tax-free programs. I have other programs as well. It all based on what makes sense for you. I'd like to set up a time when I can actually do a Zoom meeting with you.
Mm-hmm.
When would be a good time that I could sit you down in front of your computer? And I ask them. And if they say, well, what's this? If they start giving me pushback at that point,
Combative,
we
yeah.
go a little bit more. And then other than that, I'm like, listen, I'm here to try to help you. This is a non-fee for service program. So if you're interested, I can at least give you some information. It's probably well worth your time, but the ultimate decision's up to you. I'm here at your disposal, but I'm busy. So, I mean, I can try to schedule something. So I kind of do the takeaway while I'm making the appointment and
Mm-hmm.
try to give it some urgency. And that's pretty much where it goes.
Okay, so that's the first call, right? So,
Yes. Yep.
asking questions, doing takeaways, giving urgency. How do you give urgency? Like, what's kind of like the best approach for you?
Listen, my schedule is very busy.
Okay.
So, I mean, I need to, I fill up skip quickly. So I still have a few slots open this week. That's fine. We can get together. If not, I'm actually already booked for next week. And
Mm,
just trying to give them say to make that decision is to make the appointment.
mm. Yeah, no, good, man. I'll probably, for anyone who's kind of like in needs of help in doing these leads. I mean, it's all about for you. I think it's all about persistency sometimes. Like
Well,
strategy
consistency
that
is
does
key.
matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't work the system doesn't work. I mean, it's
Mm,
it's pretty simple. But everybody looks for an excuse. They all want the secret sauce, right? I
yeah.
mean, I just did a whole training session this weekend down in San Antonio about this. Everyone wants a secret sauce. And it's like, I don't have a secret sauce, but I have the biggest restaurant. That's kind of the mentality. So it's persistency. I mean, am I perfect? Absolutely not. But the customer, that's who they think they're getting. I mean, because I represent myself as someone, I'm a financial life coach. I'm here to help you, and that could answer a lot of different questions, but you have to make that determination. I appreciate the fact and I congratulate you for taking the first step in trying to figure out what you can do for your retirement. Let me find out what you have in place now, and I'll tell you if it makes sense or there's things that you might be able to improve for yourself. And that's it. It's a simple statement, and I just go on from that portion. And again, some people, I mean, one guy is like, we made a secondary appointment and he apologized. I called to follow up. Oh, yeah, I'm still going through the divorce. I'm like, I knew he was going through the divorce. He told me the first time. I said, so when do I call you after that's done? He says, can you do that? I said, yeah, I'll call you. I'll put it on the 15th. You just got to listen to people. So many people, they don't have a conversation when they call the lead. They try to do a presentation. I don't. I teach conversation over presentation all day long.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
and usually when I call someone, one of the things I say is, "Listen, I apologize. Apologize for what? I apologize for not getting back to you sooner." It changes the context of the conversation because most people when they're calling, if I call them, say, "Hey, Dickie, how you doing?" That's a sales call. If I call up and say, "Hi, Dickie, this is Russ. I wanted to apologize." Apologize for what? For not getting back
Yeah.
to you sooner. You had sent in a request trying to make sure that you can help take care of your retirement. I'm here to try to help you with that. It's something simple, but it changes the perception when you're calling. Now that's if they pick up the phone. If they don't pick up the phone, I mean, I mean, you could be the best person in the world. You don't have an opportunity to talk to them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
more people they spend more time making excuses than they do anything. It's like, just tell me you're not interested. I could take that just as easy as someone who says they're interested. Because to me, I get just as much as reward deleting a customer as as I do with moving it over to the
Yeah.
appointment section.
Saves you time, man. Saves you time.
Right.
Yeah, no, good takeaway, man. Good takeaway. I think everyone kind of like needs to, like be a little bit more persistent. Like you have more opportunities, you have more experience, you learn what's working and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically about it. Awesome, man. Awesome, man. Thanks for your insights, buddy. Just gonna
Welcome.
stop the recording.